Welcome to my Sitecore Diaries, your ultimate guide to digital experience excellence, your go-to channel for all the things in .NET and Sitecore. So this is the continuation of our series top 5 design patterns, and today we are going to see observer pattern. I'm your host Jitendra Ghanekar. I'm in Sitecore MVP Technology 2024. I've given all my social media accounts and handles on the screen. You can follow me on those. So let's see what's inside. So we'll follow the same pattern what we have done for single pattern and the factory method pattern. So we will see what is it, what is observer pattern, how to use it in C#. So we'll have a demo. Then we will see what are the different common use cases, then pros and cons, and at the end we will see why it is called as an observer. So before moving ahead, let me request you, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing to the channel and click on that notification bell also to get a latest update from our channel. Then if you like the video, click on the like button and upload this video to share this video with your friends and colleagues who would like to understand the design pattern, and do provide your comments via the comment section. So let's start today's content. What is observer pattern? The observer pattern is a behavioral design pattern where an object maintains a list of its dependents. So dependents, we called it as an observer here, and notifies them of any state changes. If there is any changes, it also notifies them, typically by calling one of their methods. This pattern is used to create a one-to-many dependency between objects, so that when one object changes state, all its dependent are notified and update automatically. So there is a relation between one to many. So if there is a one object which is changed, then dependent on that, whatever other objects are there, those get notified and updated automatically. So this is a behavioral design pattern. Okay, how the object is behaving, that is the pattern. So this is behavioral design pattern. Okay, so there are basically two interfaces which is very important here. First is the observer interface, which has a primary task that define the update method for observer to implement. So it provides the update methods, and its responsibility is to react to state change in the subject by providing custom logic in the update method. So it reacts to the state changes in the subject. Now what is subject, that we will see now. So whatever changes in the subject, to react on that and provide a custom logic to update the method. So what is subject here? Its primary task is define methods for managing observer. So it defines the methods for managing observer and notify them of the changes, and its responsibilities attach and detach the observer. So whatever the observer, okay, so observer, if you see here, it's a dependent object. Okay, attach and detach the observer and notify all the attached observer of the state changes. So that is subject interface. So these are very important, subject interface and observer interface. So it's a behavior pattern. Okay, it is actually updating depending on if you're one of the object change the state, then other objects are getting updated. So let's have a demo. Okay, let's go to the Visual Studio and see how this works. So let's go through the code for the observer pattern. So if you see observer pattern, we have a two interface here of I observer and I subject. So I observer, we are adding the update method, and for the I subject, we have a three methods here: attach, detach, and notify. Okay, and attach, we are passing the I observer object. Detach, we are passing the I observer object. Basically we are providing the observer object to attach and detach here. And then we have a concrete implementation. So first we'll see concrete observer implementation. So we have a two concrete observer here. One is a concrete observer A and another is a concrete observer B. So A is updating the subjects. Okay, it's a concrete object A server is updating, and concrete B is getting updated. So there are two observer basically, two object basically. Then we have a subject here. Okay, in the subject we have implemented the I subject you see. And for the, and also we have the attach, detach and notify methods. Okay, and there is some logic written here. So here we have some business logic done. Okay, and then there is a state is change, and then we are notifying it. So in the notify, we are basically updating every observer. Okay, so this is your concrete subject. Okay, so these four things which we will need for observer. First is a I observer, that is interface which is used for updating the object details, and I subject, okay, which will attach, detach and notify subject. Okay, so and then you have a concrete implementation of those. Now if I go to the main client side, okay, so we are defining a subject. Okay, so we are a concrete object of a subject. Then we have a two observer here, you see is one is a concrete observer A and another is a concrete observer B. Okay, then we are attaching both to the subject. So subject dot attach observer A and observer B is getting attached to the subject, and then we are calling the business logic. Okay, now let's see what is happening. I'm just running it. See what happened is doing some work and changing the state. So first it is change the state. So concrete objects 1 reacted to the event. Then doing some work again it is reacted. So concrete observer A reacted to the event. So this is how you will implement the observer pattern. So again I'm just summarizing it. You will need the two interfaces, one is for subject, another is for the observer. You will need a concrete implementation of those, and then you first of all you have to define your subject, and then the observer, whatever observer you are having, and then you can attach those observer, and later you can also remove those observer. So this is the observer pattern. So now we have seen how the observer pattern works. Let's see what are the common use cases for the observer pattern. First is the event handling system. UI framework often uses the observer pattern to listen for and handle user events like button clicks and text input. So you can use this in your Windows applications, where you can have the mechanism which will observe the pattern to listen and handle the user events like button clicks and input. So whatever basically the events are there, where you can use it. Then notification service, system that needs to send a notification to the multiple recipient when an event occurs. Then we can use the notification service for this. Then you can use the observer pattern. Then we have a data binding. So in MVC or MVVM framework, the observer pattern is used to keep the UI synchronized with the underlying data model. So if there is any changes in the data model, that will get reflected on your UI. So for that also you can use it this pattern. So data binding. Distributed systems. So keeping various components in sync, such as a distributed cache system, you can use the observer pattern. So you see, observer pattern, what it does basically, it observe the object, and if there is any change in the object, you notify the system, and that notify the other objects, and those get updated. So that kind of mechanism which you have, then you can go for the observer pattern. So let's see now pros and cons of observer pattern. Let's see first of all pros. The loose coupling. Subject and observer are loosely coupled. A subject doesn't need to know the details of the observer, only that it implements the observer interface. So you have a loose coupling between subject and observer. Scalability, easily add new observer without modifying the subject. So without modifying the subject, you can add a new observer. So that is a scalable thing which you will have. Broadcast communication. So one-to-many dependency. So one-to-many dependency is well managed, making it easy to send update to the multiple objects. So loose coupling, scalability and broadcast communication, that is the advantages of your observer pattern. So then what are the cons? Memory leak. If observers are not properly detached from the subject, it can lead to the memory leak. So your subject needs to be properly the observer needs to be properly detached from the subject, to which if not, then it will leak, it will have a memory leak. Unexpected updates. So as you have seen that what it does, whenever there is any update in the object, then it will notify the other objects, and it gets updated. So there might be a cases observer might receive update they are not interested in. So they do not interested in, they did not need it, but still leading to the unnecessary processing. So unexpected updates are might happen. Complexity: adding, removing and managing the list of observer can add complexity to the code. So you already seen it looks complex only, right? So when you see there are multiple things which you are doing, there's the observer, then the subject is there, you have to manage those, there are multiple methods. Okay, so this is bit complex design pattern. So okay, so it's add the complexity in the code. All right, why it is called as observer pattern? It is called an observer pattern because it models a scenario where objects are observing the state of another object. Okay, so multiple objects are you are observing the other state of the other object, and that another object is a subject. When the state of the subject changes, the observer are notified and react accordingly. So the concept is similar to the real world observing. So in the real world also observer does something that so you can take an example of the stock update. So there is might be a stock price update is happening, the investors are observing it and accordingly reacting it. So this is called as a so that's the reason why it is called as the observer pattern. I think the objects are behaving similar way, they are observing the other another object, and depending on that they are getting updated. Okay, so this is why it is called as a observer pattern. All right, we are done for today. It's a bit complex type of a pattern, design pattern. If you like the video, please click on the like button and do share this with your friends and colleagues. Do provide your feedback or any question in the comment section. If you are not subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing to the channel and click on a notification bell to get a latest update. Thank you. Thanks for watching.